And we're live. Welcome to Hart Ranch. Nicest day we've had all week for sure. This is our third week in a row now of doing Facebook Live. I hope you've been able to watch them. The second one's probably a little bit long, but we won't probably do that today unless you guys really come up with some good questions. That's what we'd like to do today, is use the first questions to create our topic. So actually, as I speak, I think my producer Brett's going to type that in, so even if you didn't see this beginning part, you can read it. Is that right, Brett?
That's correct.
That's what Brett's doing. So as he does that, let me just start with that we're going. Beginner lessons are starting. Had the first one yesterday. Start another group on Monday. I'm really excited about that. Here goes the maintenance guys coming to ask. Young Life is tomorrow, one of the biggest tournaments in the state, and we hold that here at Hart Ranch. That's a double shotgun.
Are we in the video?
You are. So that was the guys getting ready for our big event tomorrow. Hopefully it's nice again like today, but that's not the forecast. All right, did you get that in, Brett?
Yeah. Brad Bloom wants any quick tips for us lefties.
Darb. Tips for lefties. You know, we had this last week. Right? Somebody asking about lefties. Brad, I don't see any difference myself in lefties. I really don't. As far as tendencies when I'm teaching, no tip. The only tip would be which side you should start on for kids. You know, that's the bigger question: is should you start as a lefty? Once you've started as a lefty, and if you're enjoying the game, there's certainly the principles of physics are the same. It's just the opposite side of the ball. So, sorry, Brad. There's no special fancy answer for you there, pal. But we need to hook up. I haven't seen you yet. One of my favorite, funniest guys I like to hang out with.
Okay.
How many people we got watching today?
Yeah, we got a couple here. They're filtering in.
Tips. Why do people think lefties are different, I wonder? I'm gonna have to ask some other teachers if I'm in the norm or the minority when it comes to that, because I certainly don't see any differences in my teaching. So I guess while we wait for another question, I decided I was going to visit a little bit today about execution. The first week we discussed pre-lesson lesson, which was execution, making sure you get set up right. The execution part was finding some rhythm and tempo and speed in your follow-through and then holding your finish. Second lesson, maybe it was a little boring for people. I hope you didn't mind it, but it was things you can do to improve that aren't execution. And today I would, until we get some more questions, I'm just going to talk about the 4 things I learned on the web.com tour. And I shouldn't say learned, I should say relearned for the however many times, a lot of times. We learn things in this game over and over. We'll find an epiphany, and then it'll work for a week or a day or a month, and then we'll lose it and we'll find another one, and then we'll find another one, and then we'll end up coming right back to the one that we found a year ago and finding that it's a revelation again. But I want to point out to you there are 4 things that I noticed on the web.com tour while I was caddying for Will. I didn't have to do much on the range. I mean, he'd have me help him with his alignment once in a while, but for the most part he was just warming up, finding his rhythm. And while he's doing that, as being a teacher my whole life, I'm watching the other people. And as I was doing that for the whole summer, I kind of whittled it down from watching that there's 4 things they all really do the same. The others, there's a bigger variance between how they do it. So I've got those 4 things for you, but I think we got a question. No, nothing?
No,
it's just,
I think somebody's typing one in here. We'll wait.
Somebody's typing one in. Okay. Yeah, let's wait before we get into these 4 mind-boggling, enlightening things.
Better start them.
Better start them?
Let's start them up.
Okay. Well, I'll start with saying that it's not grip. Grip isn't one of them. And the reason I say that, well, just because I saw it, but there was a guy on the web.com tour, so this would be a normal grip, or what you would consider fundamental for a right-hander. He was right-handed, but he was playing this way with the right hand on top, baseball thumb, left hand on bottom. So he's playing cross-handed for his swing now, and he's on the web.com tour. He's a member, so it's not grip isn't one of them. What's that, Brett?
Nothing. That was funny.
Oh, yeah. So grip isn't one of them. You know, you see anywhere from Justin Leonard like this to Dustin Johnson like this. You know, there's a lot of variances in that. Now, most of them keep a fairly neutral standard, but the four things are: one, they all have good extension in the backswing and good extension in the through swing. So number one is extension. And to have good extension, you need the biggest thing is have a full shoulder turn in your backswing. Second thing would be, you hear it all the time, left arm straight, or, you know, at least extended, not rigid. Although I know some people who play rigid and play good. But extended is the key. So extended back, and then the through swing, keeping your arms straight as long as you can before that left one has to bend, and getting your chest in rotation toward the target gets your extension in the through swing. So that's one, extension. Two is what is most commonly called transition, and that is how you finish your backswing and start your downswing. And the most common amateur flaw is that becomes quick and the tension is created, and then you lose your release and generally hit bad shots. So what I like to call it separation. It is a transition, but separation is the key. You want to feel as though you have finished your backswing and then you are starting your downswing. So you might throw that into your practice schedule or thought process when you're out there, and think of it not only as a transition, but as a separation. Finish, go. They all do that very good. Some quick, like Nick Price. Others slow, like Kenny Perry. Or there's a guy on the tour now who's really slow. Matsuyama.
Yeah, Hideki.
Yeah, so if you watch him, it's a good thing to try. A lot of people don't realize that they're quick, so slowing down your transition or creating separation. So extension number one, separation number two. The third thing they all do very well is their golf club, as it comes down toward the ball, the handle stays pointing at the ball quite a ways, down into here. And this is called leg. So they all have very good leg. Now Sergio Garcia is probably one of the maximizing guys. I can't even physically do it, but he gets that club, you know, almost in line with his arm up here, and then it looks about like this down here, and then flinging at the bottom, and that's leg. And then the fourth is speed in the follow through, or acceleration. And that is, as they hang on to that leg and they get down into here, they all speed up in the follow through. Their club is accelerating into their finish. So those are the four things. Maybe if we'll get some questions here, but Brett's giving me a lot of
side to side head.
A lot of looks, but
Yes.
no. Okay. Well, I'm not going to take it personally. I'm going to assume that people are busy, that they didn't just see my first two shows and decide that this isn't for them. All right, so recap already. Extension, back and through. Transition, how you finish your backswing. Make sure it's a mental state, but it's a mental and a physical state. You want to find a feeling of finishing and then going.
Hey, Stacy.
Hi, Leland. How are you today?
Good.
Doing a video here. You want to be an example for me?
What?
You want to hit a ball for me? Come on over. Bring your pitching wedge. Got a guinea pig. He doesn't know he's on the internet. What was that, Leland?
What?
Now, If I were to tell you that people were watching, would you be bothered by that?
No.
Okay, good. Didn't figure. An old farmer, old feed guy like you.
There you go. Yeah, you want me to really hit one?
Yeah, I want you to hit one. I'm going to use you as an example. So I'm going to have you hit some, and
Okay.
this is perfect. Unscripted, promise. It's a mirac. It's a no.
What?
Good swing, good swing. Let's see some more. We're going to look at the 4 things that we found on tour. Now we're going to look at the first. Leland's going to keep hitting while I discuss this. Am I in the picture?
Yeah, you're slightly in there.
How's the back of my head look?
Good.
Okay.
You want to be in there?
All right, that's all right, Leland. You're human. We can't hit them all good.
This is my last one.
No, it's not. Oh, you got to hit until you get the perfect one. I want to see you tone it down a little bit. So a lot of times in my lessons, I very rarely let people hit full swing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I pretty much would ask you a lot of questions first about starting with health and then your history and kind of what your thought process is. But I would already in your first few shots here say, hey, we need to go half power, 3/4 power, full power.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you 6 balls here, and I want you to do that with each one. You got time?
I think the boys are ready to go. Well, I can hit 6, I think.
Okay, you can hit 6. So half power, 3/4 power. Okay, there's a half power. So we're looking at extension first for Leland. Leland doesn't do too bad. He could use a little more shoulder turn in the backswing to create more extension. I wouldn't probably tinker with that as much though as I'd try and get him getting some extension in your follow through. Okay, so on your next 3, Leland, half power, 3/4 power, full power. I want you to feel as you come through, do me a little bit of a follow through here. Your regular swing, but slow, don't whack me. Okay, right there. As you see how already this arm is bending,
Yeah.
I'd like to see you get a little,
Straight?
I want this club to be getting here further away from you, and the reason you're catching them thing is that club is rising a little too early.
Oh, okay.
So if we can get that club head coming through a little further before it rises, we should start seeing a little better contact. Well, it went straighter. Wasn't better contact. Sometimes the teacher's wrong. Well, that was better.
I don't know if he's so wrong.
Thank you, Brett. Thank you. All right, Leland, you're consistent. I tell you that, my man.
Consistently bad.
No, not consistently bad.
Well, I better go. I think the boys are waiting.
Thank you for coming on our show, Leland.
Oh, is this a show?
This is a show. You're on TV.
No, buddy.
Jeez, I'm going to be on television?
Yep. Well,
No.
the internet. A lot of them show it on their TV. Leland is when I was here before, from 2000 to 2002, we had a lot of nice chats. In fact, we were neighbors.
Oh, yeah, we did. Yeah, you used to come over and we have a little...
Saw that beautiful
beer
house.
On a patio.
Yep. Haven't been able to play with Leland yet, but we'll get out, my man. We'll get out. Go beat up on those guys, okay?
Yeah, okay. Well, when you're 85, you know, everything kind of goes to pot.
Leland says when you're 85, everything kind of goes to pot. But I've been preaching. In fact, I just saw some kids when I was in Murrieta, at Ricky Fowler's driving range, where he grew up. My friend just happens to live right by there. I ran into some kids, and the mom had him out for just to kind of hit some balls, but she was talking about all their football and baseball and soccer, and I said, hey, those sports are great. I like that you're having them do them, but golf is going to benefit you in business when you're young. It's going to benefit you in learning life skills when you're a kid, you know, patience and discipline. And then as you get to be Leland's age, it keeps you out moving around. It's great, right?
Yeah.
I think it's the best sport there is.
You learn when you're a kid, it just kind of sticks with you.
It's right. You learn it as a kid. It's kind of like a bicycle.
I've been giving him problems. Oh, you don't hear me.
I'll tell him what you say, Leland, but I won't tell him you're giving me problems because you don't really ever give me problems. Oh, yeah, we were talking science the other day. Actually, we'll call it politics.
Yeah, right. It's whoever gets paid off.
We're good enough friends, we can talk religion and politics.
Some of them don't believe it. Some of the scientists don't believe in it, but some of them do.
Play well, Leland.
Okay, thanks.
Leland and I got to talking global warming, and he doesn't buy it. And I'm a Big Bang Theory guy. Love that show. And I don't know, I have more faith in scientists, I guess, than some people do. They think that they're making stuff up. I kind of believe that they're coming up with theories and finding ways to prove them, but that discussion is for a different forum. We have anybody throwing questions at us, Brett? Well, what am I going to have to do? Give away something?
I don't know, maybe.
We don't have any of these in the shop. I have to come up with some sort of gimmick.
Yeah, good gimmick. We'll see here. We'll go on for a couple more minutes. I'll pop 18 holes on here for a question.
Really? All right, Brett's going to pop on the free 18-hole round. Quick tips for lefties again? That's Jocelyn, my food and beverage manager.
That's literally verbatim with our first question.
Okay, so while we're here, let's not waste your time. I hope you're still watching. I probably got to get some lessons in keeping people. But we can talk a little bit about our 4 things that I learned on the web.com tour. I shouldn't say learned them. It just kind of clarified it for me from watching that those 4 things, they do very much within this box. Whereas grip, you know, it's a little wider dispersion between weak to strong. Footwork, take a look at Bubba Watson. I mean, the people with the most talent get away with the most flaws, I guess you might say. But if they work, they're not a flaw. And if you have talent, you certainly make up for a lot of them. So 4 things. Extension, we already talked about. Leland was getting his shoulder turned to about here, and so that, you know, that stops him from getting this much more extension. You know, he's only to here, and then he's got what we call a high elbow. And then we did talk about getting the arms a little straight through here as long as you can. And then another thing that works really well is a high finish creates extension. Low finish is, and you can see if my arms are low, the arms are bent. Hands are high, the arms are straight. So logic says extension. Leg's a tough one. Leg is a tougher one, I find, in my teaching experience. But I do a similar thing with some of my beginners, is find that hinge, but do it without either arm bending. You know, get maximum extension, maximum hinge, and then try and hang on to this angle as you come back down to the ball, release it to impact, and then find acceleration through. So this is one of the ways, one of the drills I give people to use leg, and it's keep the arm straight back to here, get the full hinge, and just hit some shots like this.
All right, we got a couple of questions.
Okay. Questions?
First one I got was Christy Lentz here.
Okay.
I don't know if they can hear me, so I have to repeat it.
Okay.
Christy Lentz, my drive consistently fades right. Any thoughts?
My drive consistently fades right. Any thoughts? From Christy Lentz, did you say?
Yeah, Christy Lentz. And then chats.
Oh, okay, great. We got questions. We're in the game. So first thing is, Christy, you're normal, very normal. And how am I going to explain this? We always have the setup that leads us into what we do. So our starting position. If you haven't watched the first Facebook Live, go ahead and go back to it, because we talk about, although we did get cut off that day, but we talk about the pre-swing fundamentals of grip, alignment, balance, and ball position. And it's very common for a person who fades the ball, if you're my target, to have their shoulders facing the target at address. So, or in other words, their feet are this way and their shoulders are this way. So that would be the first thing I usually check with the student, is how open are they setting up, and how are their arms. You'd like to have the front arm slightly higher than the right arm, or at least even. If your back arm is visible as you address the ball from the front here, then you know your chances are you're open. But simply put, what's happening is your golf ball is going, your path of your club is going this way, but the face of your club is pointing that way. So it's path. Do I have a? Oh, I don't have a second club. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Okay. So it's if these represent path and squareness, path is the path that this club head follows as it goes through the golf ball. Squareness is the rotation of the club around its axis, shaft axis, open, closed. So it's when those two don't line up. Your path is going this way and your face is going this way. A hooker has their path going this way and their face pointing this way. So we have to marriage the two somehow to get rid of the fade. And the first thing to check is address, grip. Take a look at your grip. Most common thing for people who fade the ball is that they have the thumb on top of the shaft, meaning left hand, and a lot of times they have the right hand up on top pointing down. This is a very common fader or slicer's grip. And what we would do is make sure we turn that hand a little bit over the top of the club so that as I'm looking down I can see a couple knuckles. But very important is that you see that you're holding it in the, can you see that, Brett? See how I'm holding it in the fingers here, and when I say that, I can without using these three, it's still not falling because it's underneath the butt of the palm. Another common flaw of faders is that they hold the club inside the palm like this instead of in the fingers. So that's grip, alignment, balance. Yeah, I see it both ways. People who fall backwards slice, people who get ahead of it or fall forward, you might say, slice. And then ball position. You can slice with either of the last two. You can go either way. You can hook it or slice it. So check your grip and alignment. Balance and balance. The other question was balance, right, Brett?
Yeah. How can I improve my balance on tee shot?
Okay. So Christy, this gets into it. Grip. Check your grip, alignment, balance, ball position.
Now this is Des that asked that question.
Yeah. Okay. So and then Des with the balance. You know, it shouldn't matter what club you're using as far as balance goes. We have to apply that fundamental to every club we use, and the pre-lesson lesson, the first Facebook Live would be something you'd want to watch, because in that we talked about setup, finding some rhythm in the swing, and then the third thing was holding your finish. So the first thing I would tell you is, are you trying to hold your finish and still falling off balance, or are you not really trying to, or you're not being conscious of holding your finish and you find it? So make sure, very common for everybody, make sure you hold your finish. That's what I would have you do. But as far as making sure, okay, so if you are holding your finish and you fall towards your toes consistently, chances are at address you're on your toes, or if you were to find your setup position and then take a little bit of a jump, you would likely go forward. People who fall backwards when they're trying to hold their finish generally are too close to the ball and they're rocking back on their heels a little bit. So it's these two parts. It's A, focus on your balance when you start. B, focus on your balance when you finish. And then in between, just make your motion, find some rhythm, find a hit. A lot of times people who fall off balance are trying to kill it, swinging too hard. Their effort level is beyond ideal. If you watch some television golf, it's pretty rare. Once in a while you'll see guys in heavy grass really try and swing hard. But it's really rare that you ever see a tour professional, women's or men's, where they really look like they're trying to get 100% of what they can put into it. It almost always looks like, what do you think, Brett, 70%?
70%, 75%.
75, 80? So that would be another area where you would check yourself and do an evaluation and ask yourself, how tight are you squeezing it with your grip? Now, the harder you swing, or the more speed we generate with the club, you have to hold it firm. Now, a short putt, a lot of people, the lighter you can hold it. When you hear the bird analogy, It's not generally for the driver. You need a little bit of some squeeze to create some power and control that club. But kind of take a look at it. In Tin Cup, he talks about the white knuckles, right? If your knuckles are white, you're probably squeezing it too hard. So grip pressure, and what I'm getting at is if you're really gripping it tight, chances are you're going to try and really smoke it, and we end up hitting some bad shots. So balance with the driver should be the same as every club. Now the driver is a bigger club, a longer club, and a longer swing, which will lead you to fall off balance more likely than you would with a shorter club. So I get that, but that doesn't mean that you're not doing the same thing with the short club. It just means that you're getting away with it. The short club, you're not creating quite as much speed or swing usually, and you might be able to keep your balance there. But pay attention to it when you start. A lot of times you'll end up having to readjust. So,
If you want to see that ball, let's move it in front of the pile.
oh, thank you, Brett. A lot of times, once you're paying attention to your setup, so target, ball, center. This is how we always have to find ball position and aim. Target, ball, center. And so I do, you'll see it on TV. A lot of this, back, forth, making sure that we got our aim proper. Posture, arms. You find your setup. Now I did this on purpose, but it looks to you probably on TV like I'm in pretty good position. But if I kind of stand up tall, straight here, and kind of feel my balance toward my toes, toward my heels, to where I'm straight up and down, and then don't move out forward, just kind of bend over with my posture, this is where I should be. Maybe a little bit more, maybe right about there. So you can see, it was subtle, right? When I stood up to the ball, you probably couldn't tell that I was here, that I'm on my toes. True, Brett?
That is true.
You could, or could you tell? You got a pretty good eye.
Yeah, no. I had nothing.
I had nothing. So, I guess what I was getting at there is what, once you've set up, and probably most common, it goes both ways. I do see more people too far away than too close. So if you set up and you feel like you're good, well, just kind of check it. Say, okay, I'm going to lift my club up off the ground here. I'm just going to feel my weight, toes to heels, straight up and down. Get that club down on the ground, and so then you just readjust. Find it, and then try and do a swing, and hold that finish. Just like a gymnast. None of this.
It's working. They love this work.
Oh, is that what we got? Yeah, I'm very popular. Don't look at YouTube. Okay, I don't think we need to go as long as we did last time. I think we've covered these basics. We've got a couple questions. Spread the word, please. I would like to point out that I'm here all summer, folks, and I'd like to make a difference. I'd like to grow the game. I'd like to share the knowledge that I've gained with anyone who's got an itch to play this game. And I'd like any of you who already play it, let's get some more people into this game. It's just the best. If you play the game, you probably love it like I do. And I just think it's got so many benefits for people who haven't played it. And I think a lot of times the reason they don't play it is because they're uncomfortable. The level of ability they've got. Most people don't quit because they don't enjoy being outdoors and hanging out with their friends. The reason they don't play is because it's hard, and they get embarrassed that they don't live up to their own expectations, because that's really what it comes down to. There's people who can play awful good golf that won't go play with certain people because they're self-conscious. So what I'm saying, I guess, is send me some beginners. I've got a great program I'd like to use to grow the game here. We've got a Sunday evening deal where we've got a very low rate. We play a shorter set of tees, cart green fee for very reasonable price. If I remember right, it's under 20 bucks. Sunday afternoons, I'd like to get that growing, and the beginners that I put through my program, or anybody's program, whether it be Blake and Matt at Meadowbrook, or Jesse at Arrowhead, or Aaron out at the Elks, or Jason at Red Rock, anybody who you might know who's gone through beginner programs, we've got a great deal going on Sunday after evenings is what it is, to just a comfortable situation where there's not, we play a shorter course and get out and have fun. And throw some tips around some of those weeks. So, thank you for tuning in. Spread the word. Let's grow this wonderful game we've got, and come on out to Hart Ranch. Our greens are healing up, and course in great shape. So, thank you for your time, and God bless.